Have you ever thought your life was perfect? That you touched everything you ever dreamed of? I used to think so. Every day I woke up, looked at my wife and child beside me, and silently thanked life. But this life, it's never really a fairy tale. Until that fateful night when I held my 3-year-old daughter standing helpless outside a rundown motel, the neon lights flickering, cold and desolate. I stared at room 203, and in that gaze, the image of the wife I loved walking into it with another man just kept haunting me. From that second, everything I believed in shattered. But I swear I wouldn't let them get away with it. Never. My name is Josh. I'm 35 years old. I'm an electrical engineer, and my job is at a large industrial plant right outside the city. My work schedule is a bit erratic, sometimes day shifts, sometimes night shifts. I was used to sleeping by day and working by night, but I always tried to arrange my hours to be present for my family's important moments. Coming home, no matter how tired I was, I'd instinctively smile when I saw my wife and child. My wife Emily is 37 years old. She works regular office hours, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at a reputable law firm. She's an intelligent, sharp woman, and I have to say, very beautiful. Before me, Emily had a deeply serious college relationship. They were even engaged for a while before breaking up. I knew all about that past, but I never let it bother me. For me, the past was the past. Everyone has their own story, and I trusted that Emily had chosen me. Chosen her future with me. And then our little angel was born, our little daughter Lily, who is now 3 years old. She was our entire world, the light, the laughter in this house. Our family life just sailed along smoothly, peacefully. We trusted each other absolutely. Or at least, I used to believe that.
Looking back, maybe the cracks had already begun to show a long time ago. I was just too immersed in that false peace to notice. About 4 or 5 months ago, Emily started making small changes. She started coming home later more often. At first, it was just working a bit late. Then it became an urgent, unexpected meeting or having to stay to handle paperwork. I simply thought, well, she works at a law firm. Work pressure is normal. I trusted Emily implicitly. I always believed her. "You're home so late. Is everything okay? I've been waiting." "Oh, there's a new case. I had to stay and handle urgent documents. I'm so tired." "All right then, let me cook something for you." "No need. I ate at work already." We always had conversations like that whenever she came home late. Then there was her phone. I don't know when Emily picked up the habit of placing her phone face down when she was home, or taking it into the bathroom whenever she went. I thought, she probably just wants her privacy. I never felt curious or tried to check my wife's phone. I believe that trust was the foundation of marriage. Emily's mood also began to grow erratic. Sometimes she was irritable, other times strangely withdrawn. Every time I asked, she'd say, "You're overthinking it. I'm fine. It's just work pressure." I always reassured myself like that. I'm a simple man. I loved my wife. I loved my daughter, and I trusted my little family absolutely. I had no idea that beneath that calm facade, a storm was silently forming, and it was about to swallow everything I held dearest. That fateful day, everything started like any other, just with a slight difference. A touch of destiny, a twist of irony. Emily called me while I was at work. Her voice sounded a little rushed, but also quite important. "Honey, I have a last-minute emergency meeting. I can't pick up Lily. Can you pick her up for me today?" Hearing that, I just smiled and said, "Yeah, you go ahead and handle your work. I'll take care of our little princess." Perfect timing. I was actually about to ask my boss to leave a bit early to play with her anyway. I didn't think twice about it. Honestly, I was thrilled. I asked my boss for an early leave and picked Lily up from daycare. She practically jumped for joy when she saw me. With some free time before dinner, we decided to take a stroll in the park, sharing a vanilla ice cream cone. Emily's innocent laughter seemed to melt away all my tiredness. The afternoon sun, golden and warm, stretched across the green grass. I thought, my life is truly happy. That was my last moment of peace. And then, right at that moment, I saw it. A familiar silver SUV was gliding past the road in front of the park. I knew it instantly. The same license plate, the same decal on the rear window, even that tiny little dent on the back bumper. There was no mistaking it. It was Emily's car. My heart felt like it stopped. My entire chest tightened, and a sharp, searing pain. She wasn't alone. Emily was sitting in the passenger seat, next to a strange man I had never seen before. Who was he? And why was Emily there at the exact time she was supposed to be at an emergency meeting? I didn't think for a second. I buckled Lily into her car seat, and then, purely on instinct, I sped off. I started tailing that SUV, keeping a safe enough distance not to be noticed. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. My heart pounded like it wanted to burst from my chest. I didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was doing. I just followed in dead silence, my mind a chaotic mess of questions and gnawing suspicion. And then, my world collapsed. That SUV, my wife's car, turned into a motel. A run-down, seedy motel right off the highway. The pain was indescribable. It wasn't physical pain, it was a bone-deep agony tearing through my heart and soul. I pulled into a small coffee shop across from the motel, trying to breathe, trying to calm myself down. Lily was sitting beside me, innocently sipping her juice box, singing softly, completely oblivious to the storm raging in her poor father's mind. I couldn't just storm in there, not with Lily here, but I also couldn't just sit still and watch. So I pulled out my phone. I called her. "Emily? How long has this been going on?" Emily's voice tried to sound normal, but it was rushed as she replied, "What? I'm still in my meeting. I'll call you back later." Hearing that, I gritted my teeth, uttering each word distinctly. "Don't lie anymore, Emily. Get out here right now. I'm across the street with Lily. And tell whoever she's with, don't step out, or else I don't know what I'll do." About 10 minutes later, every second in agony, Emily walked out of the motel. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her face ashen, as if she'd just seen a ghost. She was crying too. But I knew those were tears of fear, not of remorse. We didn't say a word on the drive home. Only Lily's innocent babbling, softly singing children's songs broke the deadly silence in that car. Her smile, it was like a knife twisting in my wounded heart, reminding me of everything I was about to lose. I already knew my life would never be the same again. That night, I didn't say another word. I simply placed the divorce papers directly on the kitchen table. They lay there stark white, a judgment for everything we once had. When Emily saw them, her face went utterly, chillingly pale. Pointing to the divorce papers, I forced out each word, heavy and deliberate. "I told you, Emily, I can forgive anything except infidelity." Hearing that, Emily immediately collapsed to her knees, tears streaming down her face, clutching my legs, pleading, "No, Josh, please, I beg you. I was wrong. I swear it was just a moment of weakness. I didn't do anything. It was just my ex-boyfriend. I don't know why I was even there. Please, don't leave me. Don't leave Lily." She stayed there, on her knees, begging and promising everything under the sun. Just a moment of weakness? Didn't do anything? Just an ex-boyfriend? How ridiculous it sounded.
Could a moment of weakness really lead to a motel? Didn't do anything, yet she trembled like that when I called? For me, the damage was already too great. Trust isn't something that can be rebuilt with lies, with those crocodile tears. It was shattered beyond repair, impossible to mend. The week that followed, everything was hell. Every night I came home drunk. Sometimes I didn't even bother going to the bedroom, just collapsing onto the sofa, falling asleep amidst the smell of alcohol and despair. Emily, meanwhile, would just cling to Lily while she slept, her eyes puffy from crying. We lived under the same roof, breathed the same air, but not a single word was exchanged. There was only a suffocating, heavy silence, painful to endure.
Then one night, I finally broke that silence. It wasn't genuine forgiveness. It was a surrender, an acceptance of cruel fate. I spoke the words Emily wanted to hear, just to make it stop, to make her stop crying. Looking into the empty space, I felt nothing, but I still said, "All right, Emily, I forgive you this time." "Oh, Josh, do you really forgive me? Thank you. I knew it. I knew we could make this work again." She clung to me like a drowning person grasping at a straw, her face filled with hope and joy. She thought everything could go back to the way it was. But no, we couldn't go back. Every time she tried to get close, I recoiled. Every touch, every hug, it made me shiver. That image, that night, it haunted me, impossible to erase. One time I came home from work, and Emily came out of the kitchen, trying to be intimate with me. Unable to bear it, I pushed her hand away and said, filled with disgust, "Did you touch him like that too?" Hearing my words, Emily froze, recoiled, her eyes wide. "Josh, Looking directly into the eyes of the woman I once loved so passionately, all that remained in me was contempt. "You disgust me, Emily." A year passed. A long, agonizing year of silence, of shudder-inducing touches. No more intimacy, no more warmth, no healing whatsoever. Our house transformed into a graveyard of emotions where love had died. We still lived under the same roof, but ate dinners separately, slept in 2 different rooms or at opposite ends of the bed. No interaction, no eye contact. I looked at the woman I once called my wife, but I no longer saw the woman I married. I only saw a shattered mirror. You know, no matter how much glue you use, no matter how hard you try to piece together every shattered fragment, the cracks will always show. And these cracks, they were too deep, too numerous to ever hide. Our marriage was dead. Trust was dead. I couldn't bring myself to trust this person anymore. It all started from one moment of weakness, just one moment. But the destruction it left behind, it was there forever. It became a part of me, a part of this house, and it would haunt me endlessly until I found a way to escape it. A year I lived in that hell I called marriage. I'd become a shadow, a man drowning in alcohol and disgust and in an unending haunting. One night I stumbled home drunk again. The house was pitch black. I staggered into the living room, and there I saw Lily. My daughter was fast asleep on the sofa, all alone, cold, with just a thin blanket draped over her. My heart felt like it was being squeezed tight. I had been so lost in my own pain that I'd forgotten I was also neglecting her future. I looked at Lily, my precious daughter, sleeping soundly. Her face was so serene, so innocent. Yet I knew Lily was growing up in a dead home, a place devoid of genuine laughter, devoid of the warmth of love. And now even her parents weren't there for her. How lonely must she have been? My pain was like a black hole, and I couldn't let it drag her down with me. My Lily deserved so much more than this. That night I asked myself, What am I going to do to stop being the old Josh? To ensure Lily has a strong father, a father she can be proud of? The decision was made. I couldn't keep drowning in this despair. I had to find a way out. And my first action was to seek help. I started looking for a therapist. I needed to heal myself before I could truly protect my daughter. Even though I had said, "I forgive you," to Emily, deep down I knew it was just a self-soothing lie. My demeanor was so cold I never believed she could endure such aloofness and truly repent. She was still Emily, and I knew I needed proof. Emily still had that irritating habit of always placing her phone face down when she was home or taking it into the bathroom every time she went. Every time I saw it, the suspicion within me flared up like a fire, continually reinforcing my belief that she was still hiding something. And then I started to notice a new detail, a new male colleague of Emily's at the law firm. He was a dapper, very handsome man, and most importantly, he was already married. The times Emily came home later, sometimes I'd catch a faint whiff of an unfamiliar perfume on her clothes, a scent that wasn't mine nor hers. My gut told me this wasn't just a moment of weakness anymore. This was something far more persistent, far more insidious. I reached out to a close friend who works in IT. He has special skills in information retrieval. I asked him to discreetly install a tracking software on Emily's phone. I knew this was completely wrong, but what I needed was the truth, and I found it. It wasn't just intimate messages and photos with that guy from the motel that night, but also with that very same charming colleague. They had been secretly seeing each other for months, even longer than the first man. My heart shattered once more, but this time it wasn't from pain or shock. This time it was from utter fury. She had lied to me not just once, but continuously. This wasn't just a moment of weakness. This was a deliberate betrayal, a habit of deceit, an inherently manipulative nature. I wouldn't let this go. She would pay. I swear it. I reached out to her. Her name was Sarah. Sarah was also a sharp woman, and just like me, she had lived in lies for far too long. Initially, when we first met, Sarah didn't hesitate to show her suspicion and coldness towards me. But after I presented the evidence, her eyes filled with pain, then shifted to an incredibly swift fury. We, two betrayed individuals, formed an unlikely alliance. She helped me gather even more undeniable proof. Sarah revealed a wealth of information about her husband and Emily. We met and discussed their secret rendezvous spots, the codes they used to communicate, and the elaborate tricks they employed to cover their tracks. It was as if we were students in a study group, but the main subjects were betrayal and revenge. Finally, we had everything. The plan was ready, and this time, we wouldn't be merciful. With all the evidence in hand, I sought out a lawyer. Not just any lawyer I found online, but David, one of the city's top family law attorneys. I knew him through a friend in the legal field. Nicknamed the Bulldog of the courtroom, David was known for being tough and unyielding. Amid towering bookshelves laden with law books and files, David listened attentively to my entire story with a calm, expressionless demeanor. She still tried to manipulate me, lied, and even tried to make me out to be the bad guy, I recounted, placing a USB drive filled with incriminating data on the table. David, wearing his glasses, meticulously examined each file, his gaze sharp and piercing. After meticulously reviewing all the evidence that Sarah and I had painstakingly gathered, David nodded, his face resolute. "Josh," he said, his voice solid, "we have enough grounds not just for divorce, but to make her pay the steepest price for what she's done. We'll do this thoroughly." He looked at me, a subtle, almost imperceptible smirk playing on his lips. "Excellent. Your calmness will be your strongest weapon. Now then, let's talk about the plan." David outlined a clear step-by-step plan, like a military strategy, to ensure Emily would face the most painful consequences. True to David's plan, I arranged the first divorce meeting at his law office. Emily walked into the conference room, accompanied by her lawyer, a young man who looked inexperienced and quite anxious with a pale face. Emily, however, wore her usual arrogant, confident expression, her hair neatly tied in a bun, her business suit impeccable. This was a stark contrast to the pitiful, remorseful demeanor she'd maintained for the past year. Seeing me, she even allowed herself a fleeting, contemptuous smirk. Emily initially crossed her legs, feigning nonchalance, occasionally glancing at me with a subtle challenge, as if to say, "What can you possibly do to me?" She truly believed I was still the naive fool, easily manipulated, that I wouldn't dare to leave her. Seeing her like that, I simply sat upright, my gaze direct, not uttering a single word. David began the meeting with a professional, decisive tone. "Good morning, Miss Emily. We will begin today's session. As requested by my client, Mr. Josh, we will proceed directly to the main issue. Josh, you may present your evidence." With a confident expression, Emily curled her lips into a disdainful smirk. "Evidence? I don't know what he means. This is just a normal divorce, isn't it?" Not even looking at Emily, I spoke and acted. "Lawyer David, please proceed." I pulled a thick stack of documents from my briefcase and placed them all on the table. Every steamy text message Emily exchanged with not just one, but two other men. Every secret rendezvous photo of her at shady bars, at roadside motels. I left no detail out. Then came the detailed reports from the private investigator I had hired, from license plates, entry and exit times, to even the motel receipts. Finally, there were the recorded phone calls where Emily tried to manipulate me, lied to me, after I caught her at the motel. I laid bare all her deceit, leaving nothing untouched, peeling back every layer of her mask. David outlined a clear step-by-step plan, like a military strategy, to ensure Emily would face the most painful consequences. True to David's plan, I arranged the first divorce meeting at his law office. Emily walked into the conference room, accompanied by her lawyer, a young man who looked inexperienced and quite anxious with a pale face. Emily, however, wore her usual arrogant, confident expression, her hair neatly tied in a bun, her business suit impeccable. This was a stark contrast to the pitiful, remorseful demeanor she'd maintained for the past year. Seeing me, she even allowed herself a fleeting, contemptuous smirk. Emily initially crossed her legs, feigning nonchalance, occasionally glancing at me with a subtle challenge, as if to say, "What can you possibly do to me?" She truly believed I was still the naive fool, easily manipulated, that I wouldn't dare to leave her. Seeing her like that, I simply sat upright, my gaze direct, not uttering a single word. David began the meeting with a professional, decisive tone. "Good morning, Miss Emily. We will begin today's session. As requested by my client, Mr. Josh, we will proceed directly to the main issue. Josh, you may present your evidence." With a confident expression, Emily curled her lips into a disdainful smirk. "Evidence? I don't know what he means. This is just a normal divorce, isn't it?" Not even looking at Emily, I spoke and acted. "Lawyer David, please proceed." I pulled a thick stack of documents from my briefcase and placed them all on the table. Every steamy text message Emily exchanged with not just one, but two other men. Every secret rendezvous photo of her at shady bars, at roadside motels. I left no detail out. Then came the detailed reports from the private investigator I had hired, from license plates, entry and exit times, to even the motel receipts.
Finally, there were the recorded phone calls where Emily tried to manipulate me, lied to me, after I caught her at the motel. I laid bare all her deceit, leaving nothing untouched, peeling back every layer of her mask.
Emily's face slowly drained of color. From confidence, she shifted to utter shock, her face deathly pale, not a drop of blood left. Her eyes widened in horror as the evidence was systematically laid out. She bit her lip hard, her hands clenched, muttering, "No, it can't be." Her lawyer was flustered, trying to reassure her but utterly speechless, only managing to stammer a few words. But David cut him off decisively. "This is not a discussion," David stated. "This is the truth being exposed. Everything. You lied to me, Emily, over and over again. This is evidence of prolonged infidelity, not just with one, but two individuals, Ms. Emily. And these are the recordings showing you attempted to manipulate my client after being discovered." Indeed, the truth was a sharp knife, and the truth didn't stop there. The very next day, Sarah, with my full support, boldly walked into the lobby of their law firm and confronted both her husband and Emily directly. It wasn't a private confrontation, but right there in the main hall, in front of numerous colleagues and partners, a shocking scandal erupted. That colleague, Emily's lover, was fired immediately, his reputation shattered, his family torn apart in an instant. He lost everything. And Emily, she began to face a far more terrifying nightmare. Her phone was inundated with criticism, hateful messages from old friends and even strangers. Clients started withdrawing their cases. Colleagues alienated her. The reputation she had meticulously built over many years, that facade of an elegant professional lawyer, it completely collapsed in a single morning. The whole world knew her true colors. But even after being completely exposed, even after her reputation and career had crumbled, Emily still wouldn't let go of her delusion. She still believed she was the victim. "You're a controlling monster," she screamed at me during a final mediation session. "You never understood me. You pushed me into someone else's arms." She truly thought those words could still manipulate me, that I would soften and back down. She loudly hurled accusations, flailing her arms and legs, displaying her anger and bitterness. She was completely delusional. She thought I'd never dare to let go or that I'd be intimidated by her dirty tricks. And it wasn't just her delusion. Emily's friends, those equally calculating women with extremist views and a touch of malice, had incited her to play dirty. Accuse him of domestic violence. Say he doesn't take care of Lily. Use the kid to get what you want. They advised her to falsely accuse me to gain leverage in the divorce proceedings, especially for full custody and a large portion of the assets. They genuinely believed a man could never win against a woman with such accusations. But I was ready. My lawyer David had anticipated all these dirty tricks. Immediately after that first mediation meeting, I installed a comprehensive security camera system throughout the house, in every nook and cranny, ensuring every activity, every conversation was recorded. Every single conversation with Emily was meticulously audio recorded. David had also prepared the legal defense steps, including gathering evidence of my financial and emotional stability, as well as reports on my diligent care for Lily. I wouldn't let anything harm my daughter or the truth. This fight, I would win. And Emily would pay for every lie, every betrayal, especially now that she dared to involve Lily. After all the deceptive theatrics, all the disgusting lies, the legal battle finally focused on the most important thing, Lily. Throughout that entire year, I had clearly seen that Emily didn't truly care for our daughter. She only wanted to use Lily as a bargaining chip to pressure me, to salvage some assets, or to regain some fleeting, hollow sense of honor. She never genuinely spent time with our child beyond taking photos for social media to project the image of a perfect mother. I knew I had to fight for full custody. My precious Lily deserved a stable environment, a real home, and most importantly, a father who truly loved and protected her with his entire being. After all the manipulative theatrics, all the disgusting lies, the legal battle finally focused on the most important thing: Lily. Throughout that year, I clearly saw that Emily didn't truly care for our child. She only wanted to use Lily as a bargaining chip to pressure me, to salvage some assets, or to reclaim some fleeting, hollow sense of honor. She never genuinely spent time with her, beyond taking photos for social media to create the facade of a perfect mother. I knew I had to gain full custody. My precious Lily deserved a stable environment, a real home, and most importantly, a father who truly loved and protected her with his entire life. The final meeting was set at David's law office. The air was heavy, thick with tension. The room, with its large wooden table, was brightly lit, each face sharply illuminated. Emily and her young lawyer walked in. She still tried to maintain an air of defiance, glancing at me with eyes full of hostility, yet her own eyes clearly revealed panic and helplessness. David began. "Ms. Emily, we have undeniable evidence of your prolonged infidelity, the psychological manipulation of my client, and the baseless, false accusations you fabricated against Mr. Josh. With all this, my client's demand is for sole custody, and we will not concede an inch. Any visitation rights will be determined by the court based on the child's best interests, not at your discretion." Slamming the table in frustration, Emily retorted, "He has no right to do that. I am her mother. He just wants to hurt me. He wants to steal Lily from me." But Emily's weak, angry words held no weight. As David began to present all the evidence we had painstakingly collected, from recorded conversations where Emily incited her friends to slander me, to messages where she complained about spending time with Lily, to Lily's repeated missed calls when she was out on dates, and even reports of her frequent absence from Lily's parent-teacher meetings, Emily's face gradually drained of color, shifting from anger to utter paleness, then to complete despair. Her lawyer tried to object, stammering a few words, but no argument could stand firm against David's undeniable evidence and solid legal strategy. She had no other option but to agree, her face as white as paper. "So, Ms. Emily, after reviewing all the evidence, do you agree to the terms of full custody belonging to my client, Mr. Josh, with visitation rights to be specifically regulated by law without interfering with Lily's school schedule and daily life?" I do." With a whisper, barely audible, Emily had to accept with utter humiliation. "And regarding the division of assets, we require that you receive a small portion, enough for you to stabilize your initial living situation, commensurate with your contributions and what you have caused, rather than the large sum you once desired." Suppressing a sigh, Emily nodded reluctantly, not daring to look at anyone. It was a victory, a resounding victory, not just legally but spiritually. I had won full custody. Lily would be with me, in the loving and protective embrace of a true father. Emily received only a small sum, just enough for her to start over, nothing more. She had lost everything, her dignity, her career, and most importantly, she had lost the right to be with her daughter. All of it was because of her own mistakes, her lies, and her selfishness. My face, for the first time after a long year spent in darkness, felt an extraordinary lightness. It was like a colossal burden had been lifted, shackles finally removed from my soul. Throughout that challenging journey, I was never alone. I had unsung heroes by my side. My family and close friends, those I could call true brothers, were there with me every step of the way, like guardian angels. My parents, though heartbroken, always encouraged me, giving me strength. Friends like Mike, Bob and Frank, they didn't just offer empty words of comfort, they rolled up their sleeves and genuinely helped me rebuild my life. They helped me renovate the house, transforming it from a dark, heavy space into a true home for me and my daughter. They played with Lily when I was busy. They listened to my complaints without judgment, without a single word of criticism. They were the strongest emotional support I could have asked for. They showed me that even when life crumbles beneath your feet, there are still people there, ready to lift you up, to pull you out of the abyss. Especially David, my lawyer, was not just a brilliant attorney but also a friend. He guided me every step of the way, from finding a therapist to heal my soul to protecting my and Lily's rights with utmost thoroughness. Lily and I navigated that storm together, and my friends and family were our lighthouse, leading us to calm shores. I've made it through that nightmare. Lily is happy, growing up in a home filled with love and safety, and I'm slowly healing. My marriage was mercilessly destroyed, shattered into countless pieces, but I was not destroyed. I rose from the ashes, stronger, more resilient than ever. I'm no longer the old Josh, that naive, easily deceived engineer. I'm a stronger, wiser man, and most importantly, I've become a much better father. My story might not have a romantic fairy tale ending, but it's a tale of resilience, of finding myself after everything fell apart. It's about fighting and protecting what I love most, even when it demands ruthlessness and determination. Thank you for listening to today's story from the Red Flag Radar channel. If this story resonated with you, please like, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional, real-life stories and valuable lessons. See you in the next video.